Okay, so at 6 o'clock, we're going to call the meeting to order. We do have to add an in-camera under approved additions under number 8. Other than that, is there any other additions to the agenda this evening? Okay, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? The agenda is approved with the in-camera addition. So the first item that we will be discussing this evening is a low income tax exemption policy. So over to you, Terry, or Aaron, I guess. Is Aaron online?
Aaron is not able to join us.
Sure, so we'll
So I
hand these over
I'll
to
do
you,
that
Terry.
for her on her behalf.
Sure, thank you, Terry.
We have, with respect to the low income tax exemption policy, we did review that through budget, and there was changes made to the policy. But what we found is that there are some families who would normally be applicable over the last number of years there's a small gap, and we're asking council to consider that. So I'm going to just to read what Aaron said. The low income tax exemption was included in the agenda for consideration, changing the allowable income limit. If council agrees, the amendment could be approved at the September meeting. The last change to the allowable income limit in the policy was in 2019. The rebate was amended in 2023. However, it was decided to leave the allowable income limit at $24,000. With inflation, cost of living increases, and government provided benefits, we are seeing some of the applicants that have always received the benefit through this policy are ineligible this year or getting closer to the eligibility limit. The request is that council consider changing the allowable income limit in the policy to be amended to $26,000, and that the amendment be applicable to the 2024 application under this policy. Council agrees we can update the policy documents and include them in the September public agenda package. I just note, so with respect to policy, we have to give notice, staff gives notice of policy change coming to council. So this meeting would serve as that if you wish to move forward with it. If not, then we wouldn't do that.
Okay, so we'll open up the floor for any discussion.
Okay, go ahead. Through you, your worship, I remember correctly during budget, I think Councillor or Deputy Mayor McIver had suggested $27,000, and at the time we were told to leave it at 24. So I'm kind of concerned kind of curious, I guess, why it's coming back at 27 when council had suggested 27 just a few months ago.
26.
It's coming back at 26 now, but the deputy mayor had suggested 27 not that long ago.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor McDougall?
Yes, Your Worship, through you, thank you. Where did we get to 26 at, Terry? What number was that? Where did that come from?
I think when we look at those sort of falling behind, that would make those people who are falling behind this year, that would include them.
No, I'm not, that's not my question. The question is, where did the number come from? Did you pick it up in the air, or did you get it from another municipality?
No, it's not from, as far as I know, it's not from another municipality. It's the existing numbers at 24,000. I know that Aaron has looked at this and council has looked at this. When we approve budget, we've approved budget. There's many conversations about limits and dollar values and such. I don't recall the specific conversation about 27,000. And I can't say for certain if that was as a comparison. In my mind, it's enough to ensure that those that are typically eligible will be eligible again this year.
Deputy Mayor McIver?
No, Your Worship, I did mention that. I can't recall right off the hand, but I thought I read somewhere that the 27,000 is the threshold of low income. and that's why I suggested it.
Councillor McCoy?
Yes, Your Worship, I support making the amendment, and it's a figure of 27,000, and that's what I would support as well.
Yeah, sure. I guess feedback to our chief finance officer can be that to consider the $27,000 threshold as per Deputy Mayor McIver's suggestion. And you know, certainly there's still lots of time for us to continue conversations into the fall for this September. And perhaps you can give us a more thorough report on things at our first public meeting in September.
Yes, we could do that.
Yeah, sounds good. Any other questions? I guess, are we in general, I guess, agreeing with the increase? We just have to confirm what that final number is. Okay, so we certainly, if we want to relay our support back to our chief finance officer and with the suggestion that maybe we should have it at maybe a little bit more of an appropriate threshold.
Sure.
Okay, so we will move on to Reed Street. I believe Councillor Dugal brought this forward, so maybe we'll start it with you, Councillor.
Yes, Your Worship, thank you, through you. I'm just wondering if you had any update lately on.
Thank you for your question. Terry, I guess maybe you could give us a little bit of an update on any correspondence or any new information we may have learned from our last meeting with senior staff.
No, so I think there was commitment from staff that you got that certain pieces of the project would move forward. We have seen some things move forward from that. I think the major item is that council had asked for a meeting with the senior politicians in government to discuss this, the minister, the deputy minister in our MLA. And that meeting has been established for discussion.
And does everybody have that date in their calendar at this point? Okay. Councillor?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. There's been a long process, this Reed Street project, and we did have, I'm more concerned about, we had a survey at one time, I think it was Don Mills that did it. And I thought the deputy mayor asked for, back months ago, for an update on that. And I'm not sure we got that. I've been asked about that lately. And I don't know if we're finished with that, or if there's supposed to be a second part, or what was that? Because there was parts of that survey that I didn't understand as councillor. I'm sure I don't know how the citizens of Hawkesbury could understand.
Sure. So part of the pilot project, the commitment from the government of the day was that it was a pilot project and there would be a study completed and there would be a report from that study. Part of that study was to judge the public opinion. The public opinion doesn't drive the decision, it influences the decision. So that was gauged, so the gauge of that was through the public opinion survey. But that public opinion survey was completed, and we've been briefed on that, and that's to form part of the study, but we have not received the completed study from Nova Scotia Public Works staff.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one more, Your Worship.
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion, if I could, and I'm glad you mentioned public opinion. I would move that during the municipal election on October 19th, I move that during the municipal election on October 19th, the plebiscite take place. Plebiscite vote.
I think we're getting some. Sorry, Councillor, I'll get you to continue in a second once we. Oh, sorry, I think somebody who's participating might have their speaker on that's causing interference. Can I turn it off on my end, Melissa? Apologies.
There goes.
Okay, it's off. Perfect. Okay, continue, Councillor.
Yes, Your Worship. The plebiscite is to ask the voters of Upper Hawkesbury their preference, if they would prefer 3 lanes or 4 lanes on Reeve Street. Also, that the town administration, staff, create an action plan to be updated to council to ensure that the plebiscite takes place. And I move that motion, Your Worship. Read, if I get a second there.
It's just one moment. Melissa, I think I canceled out of something. Oh, thank you. Perfect. Okay, so we have a motion, but we need a seconder before discussion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion for consideration. I guess the plebiscite, I would be curious about what the cost of that would be.
Your Worship,
to the
we
taxpayers.
can't discuss it until it's,
Well, we have a motion right now.
And a seconder.
It's been seconded by Councillor McCory, so we do have a motion up for debate, and I'm just curious about the cost of a plebiscite.
that's for the second part of the motion comes into effect. That the town administration create an action plan to be updated to council. That takes in the wording of the motion, of the plebiscite, that takes care of the cost, the date it's going to happen. Obviously, it's during a municipal election, so it shouldn't cost too much. But that's another effect, and I don't know if that questions.
Who would like to start the conversation?
I gave her one, Terry. I gave her one.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Through your worship, I don't see any problem with it, and I can't imagine any big cost if it's a straightforward question, yes, no. That would give the residents, I guess, a chance to voice their opinion about the street. We've been playing with it for 8 years plus. And I know council discussed it many times. And I think it's a good idea. It'll either endorse it or put it to bed.
Sure. And like Terry had mentioned, it's more information that Public Works through the province has at their disposal before they determine the end result of the pilot. So, okay, who'd like to go next? Councillor McCory?
Well, Your Worship, I would just echo the same comments that the Deputy Mayor has made. I think it's an opportunity for the residents to give their feedback. We get feedback on it on a regular basis, but to do it in a more formal process, I think it would be a positive move.
So just for clarity, Councillor McDougall, we're just on the first part of your motion. That's the second part of the motion about the town staff. Is it separate?
It's all one motion, Your Worship.
Okay. Councillor McCoy?
I don't necessarily disagree with this. I do question, though, we have this meeting set up with the deputy next week to get more information from them. If we go ahead with the plebiscite, do we even need that meeting? That's my question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just
Yeah.
checking to make sure Councillor Quinn is finished. Okay, back over to you.
There's two parts to that. The first part is, this is time sensitive motion, as we all know. We have, according to the Municipal Government Act, we have 10 weeks. We have to announce it within 10 weeks, and 10 weeks will be August 10th. I wanted to have this meeting last week, but things changed, and I said I'll have it this week. So it's time sensitive. And in the plebiscite, it says a preference. We have no, and I said since day one, we have no real jurisdiction on that street. It's the provinces. So this is not binding. It's not deciding anything. It's just their preference. This province still has the right to do whatever they want. It's their street. So it's just a preference, and it is time sensitive. That's why the second part is in there for an action plan to update the council to ensure that the plebiscite occurred. I'm sure that they know that, because we went through this before 6 years ago, and we were a day or two late, up in the 10 weeks, and I didn't want that happening this time. And the 10 weeks will be as of August 10th.
Any other discussion?
No.
So in terms of costs, since the Roof Street doesn't belong to the town of Hawkesbury, was there any thought put behind asking for cost sharing for the plebiscite?
That's part of the second part of the motion. Your worship.
For the action plan?
The action plan.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I guess I do.
Sure.
And I'm not against this, Councilor McDougall, but an action plan is pretty vague.
It was fine in looking at.
Well, that's okay, but in the motion, we should actually describe what we want in the action plan. Because if we tell staff today to come up with an action plan, we're not really giving them much guidance of what we want in that action plan. And I have no problem supporting your motion, but I think in that motion, we should set out what we expect for that action plan. I have no problem supporting it, but I just want to make sure we give clear direction to staff.
Well, I think the clear direction is there, is that we're trying to have a plebiscite, and they make the action plan, which it costs a wording of how we're going to word. You're just not going to say change it for it. It might be, there's an action plan. It takes stuff to do. It's defined in an action plan. I'm sure we did action plans, our staff, many times. It's not, council doesn't tell staff to do every action plan.
Okay, Terry, did you want to?
No, just one point. I don't, we have an electronic voting system. I don't know if it's designed for plebiscites. I've never explored that. So it's designed specifically for
That'll be
two
part of the
types of
action plan
elections.
too, but the information I got, it will be, and it is the information I got. Okay, I'm sure you'll find that out. And you see why I'm doing this is time sensitive. I mean, I don't want the same thing happen again.
Okay, so we currently have a motion under debate. Is there any other comments or questions?
Question.
Okay, the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, the motion is approved. Anything else left on this item, Councilor McDougall?
Not at this time, Your Worship, no.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Festival of the Strait, also added by you, Councilor.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I just wanted to give council a quick update. We're having some difficulties with it. No, I shouldn't say that. There's the word difficulties. Everything went great so far with the festival in my mind. But the fireworks part, we had to cancel once, and it cost us pretty near $1,000 to cancel already. We got $9,000 for fireworks. I met with Aaron and Terry the other day. I was trying to find a way to get some money to increase the cost of the fireworks, because we're down to 8,000 now. And I want to have it something similar, because every year, especially people that are reoffering, every year they'll say, oh, it's not as good as Mulgraves, and it hasn't. Mulgraves was 15,000. I was trying to get some more. I was asked to go to the festival committee. I went to the committee. They did agree to $1,000, which was the cost of the first cancellation. Now, this weekend, we're supposed to have it at the last Granville Green, which is the 11th of August, and it looks like there's going to be a hurricane coming for that weekend. So, I mean, we're not having a lot of luck with this. So we're going to have to cancel again sooner than later, because I don't want to lose another $1,000. The festival did give that $1,000 back. But anyway, that's just food for thought. I'm not going to start looking for money anymore, because
So
I did my part.
just a quick question for clarity. Is there again, time sensitivity? Like, can
Yes.
you avoid the $1,000 I guess, loss if you give them enough time?
No, that's a great question, and we do have time. We were calling today. We can add to it by noon on Friday if we wanted more fireworks. There's waiting, and I'm still in dealing with people over that. But as long as we do it by noon, tell them by noon, I think on Sunday, we won't get the other $1,000 cost. Yes, good question.
Perfect. No, that's great
The
information.
last time they showed up, they set up, and they had
Weather just-
workers here and everything, so they hadn't paid their salary,
Of course, that makes sense.
their travel, everything.
Of course, that totally makes a lot of sense.
So if anybody's got any money, a pocket full of money.
I guess Councilor Goodwill is asking you guys to empty your pockets at this point, I think.
It'd be another motion.
Yeah, so how would you like to proceed with this?
No, I'm done, it was just information.
Okay, for
I'm done.
information. Does anybody have any questions?
Hopefully we'll have a good $9,000
If
fire.
anybody could change the weather? Anybody imagine?
Sorry. Don't have that.
All right. No money in the pockets and
Yeah, I guess.
no
so.
power to change the weather,
Yes.
so thank you for the information, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to updates on capital projects, so over to you, Terry. Thank you.
Sure, so council asked to review a couple of projects, specifically the Ballfield Light project and the paving project. But while we have council here, I just thought we'd just show sort of a list of what's the larger projects, not the replace oil tanks and siding and that kind of thing, but larger projects that we're working on right now. And then we'll focus in on 3 projects from there. First project, one of our biggest water system upgrades, $3.3 million project is underway, construct a new public works building that we're aware of. We'll talk a little bit about asphalt improvements. We'll talk about Pine Ridge Drive, active transportation. We just have an award to Northern Contracting on that after some negotiation on some scope changes around that. Dan Willie McDonald, Ballfield Lights, we'll be talking about in more detail. For Hawkesbury and beyond active transportation. So that is that's our main AT project. So we're working on what's called the Eastern Town Connector this year. We're also finalizing design for the waterfront portion, which includes the water where we left off on the waterfront to Philpott Street and then around Sunset Park. For the federal active transportation project, so that's the project where there's 3 kind of components of that. That's the Old Sydney Road sidewalk replacement project and the bike lane there, or some signage around that. That is the Pinecrest new sidewalk and the design for Tamarack Drive upgrades for active transportation and lighting. Land Lake water pumping and distribution construction, we've discussed that in some detail. Accessibility sidewalk improvements, we're still awaiting some consulting work on that, but it's getting very close. Emergency management generator installation so we're waiting for the generator. It's supposed to be here early September. The work in the Civic Center is complete, the modifications to accept that. Pool filtration and controls, we have a tentative agreement on moving forward with that. Waterfront beautification, Alan J. McCacken Regional Airport, that's a $3 million asphalt rehabilitation. Memorial Drive, utility commissioning, and road construction. So we've been working with Jeremy Carroll in recommissioning the utilities there and putting a surface on our existing Memorial Drive. So that's kind of the very quick picture of that. Pitt Street Water Tower, again, $3.3 million, started in July. There's 2 components to that. The first component is the installation of water tank, demolition and installation. So the demolition is to start within a week. And we have another component of that, that's controls and the mechanical portion of that, and that's going on as well. So that's, if you you see over there, the old tank is now disconnected. There's no water coming from the Pitt Street tank. That's been disconnected and drained. The new valve chamber foundation and piping has been done for that. That building behind the guy in the hard hat is now gone. That's where the crane will sit to for the demolition phase of the water tank demolition project. Again, that's the valve chamber beside the Pitt Street tank. The other large component is a new valve chamber on, we call it McDonald Street, but it's on really the corner of Granville and Trump 4. That's excavation that's been done with that. That's moving ahead. This is our public works building. So yeah, so 2 components again. So we have Guilford's, who's supplying the building and erecting the building. That building has been ordered now since this winter. That's scheduled to arrive on August 20th. We have another contractor, Bryland Construction, is doing foundations and interior upgrades. The project is moving along very well. Building, so foundations and floor are due to be completed by the second week in August, and the arrival and erection of steel to happen right after that. Capital paving project, we have an award on that project to Northern Contracting. Northern Contracting is the same contractor who has the airfield rehabilitation project, and that work is going to go ahead in coordination with the airport work as well. That's an award cost of $375,000. These are the areas. So this is one of the projects we've been asked to bring forward. So we have the piece of Crandall Drive on the top left-hand corner that's shown. We have a piece of Pine Ridge intersection. What's indicated there is not exactly what the final scope on that. So there will be some adjustments on exactly where that line is happening, where those lines are happening. There's also a small piece on Old Sydney Road in Queen Street from Kennedy. It's right in front of the apartment buildings. This is, sorry. Yeah, so this is Kennedy to Sydney Road piece, and right beside
Is that Bernard Street, Terry?
Pardon me?
Is that Bernard Street?
That's Bernard Street, yeah. So, sorry, yeah, that's Bernard Street. So that's the complete mill and repave of Bernard Street, with any curb that has to be replaced as well. So Hiram Street, that's from Philpott to McSween, is also included. And sorry, right around the corner, we have McSween from Prince to Hiram. Yeah, as I mentioned, so the tender closed July 25th. We're waiting coordination. We're hoping for an earlier start than September. We're hoping that it starts prior to the start of the airport, which is supposed to start on the 15th of August. Is there any questions on the paving? That was one that was brought, that I was asked to bring forward.
Through here, Your Worship. I believe we put 500,000 in the budget, do we not, for paving? And this is coming back at 375. I would ask council to consider, since we're $125,000 under budget, on paving a piece of road in front of Angus McRae's on Crandall, 100 feet by 30 feet, with the price of roughly $38,000 to come out of that 125 extra in the paving.
Do we have any other priority areas as well?
There's so many priority areas to town. It was very difficult choosing these. There's so many areas that need to be milled and paved. And let me check the budget, because we are not underspending on this project. That's guaranteed. If there's $500,000 allotted for this project, then that's what we'll spend. Because the amount that, the need is, as we all know, is extensive for what's required for milling and paving in town. But I'd be happy to get back to you on budget and award number. That was just put in there just prior to me coming here tonight.
So I guess if there is any overages, we should definitely look at what other projects can be accomplished if we do have that ability with, I guess, within the time frame that we have and any overages that we have in the budget.
Madam Chair, yeah, through you. So if there is money left in budget on this project, we'll be happy to come back to council with suggestions on how we improve that. I'm quite certain that there's not, but if there is, we'd certainly do that.
Sure, we put 500,000 in the budget. That was a lengthy discussion.
Okay, any other questions for Terry?
Just one, Your Worship.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
As discussed in budget, did you, on the McSween Street one, look at the approach from Reeve Street to Hiram? It was suggested during budget that
The bottom left picture.
To do the
bottom
bottom.
picture, well, I know that the whole street needs to be done. But I think it was brought up that we're putting the new pavement in the middle.
Is that on Gilbert Street?
McSween. McSween. It was discussed to do from from Reeve Street up to Hiram, because that's the entrance part of it. Was there any work done on that?
For you again. So we did look at what was the worst piece of asphalt, and that was considered to be the worst condition. They're both bad. There's no, I don't think there's a question about that. And we can certainly move that. So from our perspective, the pricing on each piece, on each phase of this, the cost per square foot was different. But we can have a closer look at that, and if it's the wish of council to look at the bottom piece as well. We did look at it, and that was the opinion of staff at that time.
Do you have any more questions?
No, it was, I think, as Terry said, it was staff that were going to look at it, and I think the reasoning when I brought it up was traffic coming off of Reeve Street. Because of the condition of the pavement and everything, it's harder to get off quick enough. If you're slowing down, you don't want to tear the front end of your car and stuff. Was it a good idea to do the middle instead of the start? That was the biggest thing.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, do you have more updates, Terry?
Yeah, so this is another one that was asked to be brought forward. This is Dan Willie McDonald Memorial Ball Field. So again, this project trying to move things forward efficiently. There's two pieces of this. So we have a contract with Musco Lights. So we started this project actually design this time last year and trying to scope out and determine pricing and stuff. So move forward, we ordered the actual lights and light standards several months ago now. Those lights and light standards and precast foundation is due to arrive on the first week in September. We have a contract for the second part, and the second part is actually the installation of those lights, which includes foundations, electrical work, both in the electrical service to the ball field, and wiring, of course, wiring the new light standards in place. That was awarded to Able Electric of Dartmouth. We've met with them, we've had discussions with them, and then met with them for the pre-job actually this afternoon. We're waiting for their detailed schedule at this point in time, but they have all their documentation in place, everything ready to go. We're talking about lights and where the detail on the site layout and moving forward. So another successful tender this summer, and they seem anxious to start, and so far it's good news on that project.
Any questions on that one?
I'd just like to thank Terry and staff for their work. Thank you for the update.
Still on?
Oh, I can go on, but I don't
Yeah,
want me to, so,
If there's
yeah.
any, yeah, go ahead.
Through you, your worship. I'm thinking back to the Public Works building and I see January 2025. Has there been delays? Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was supposed to be in the fall of 2024 for completion. I was just wondering if there's been delays in getting material or?
Like most projects, the delivery of these projects has not been easy. And this one, where our tender was $1 million over budget to start with. The building was ordered quite some time ago. There was a delay in the manufacturing process, so there was a hurricane that hit that community, and that was that manufacturing plant was put down. So that delayed the arrival of the steel, and everything is scheduled around the arrival of the steel. So
Thank you.
that steel is coming, and it's moving forward.
Any other questions for Terry on this particular project? Over to you. Do you have any other updates?
No, I think we'll do a more complete review of the projects, and Sajid, our acting manager of engineering, has done a really great template for projects. He's done already a very detailed report on both the Public Works building and on the water treatment plant. So we'll share those with you. But for those 14 projects that we identified, we'll be doing one of those for every one of them, and we'll send them out to you. And then just hit highlights on those projects as we come together in September.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. So next we have one approved agenda, which is an in-camera. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute recess to allow our gallery to, yes, and also for council if we need to take a quick break. So we'll just take a quick 5-minute recess if council is okay with that before we start our in-camera session.